guys, welcome back to another video. In this one we are talking knee pads. It's going to be a review and also kind of a versus challenge here between the Bauer Pro knee pad and the Warrior RX5 RTL knee pad. Knee pads are not something I've talked about really on this channel because it's one of the few pieces of gear that I'm just super picky about, and it's like once I find something that I like, I just stick with it. And I had been using an older, not these ones, an older pair of Warrior knee pads for damn near a decade at this point, and it was just finally time to change them. But yeah, so these were like the two that caught my eye that I wanted to try, so I'll talk about which one I ended up choosing and just my thoughts on both of them all together. But real quick, before I get into the knee pads further, I just kind of wanted to take a little time to thank all you guys, everyone who watches the videos, participates in the channel, even just guys that hit me up outside of YouTube, message me know me from GGSU and whatever on social media. It's come to my attention that on my channel now, I was like looking at some statistics, and I have now done over 150 videos on the channel, which seems insane to me. We're about to hit 1,300 subscribers on the channel, which in YouTube is really nothing at all. But just for me doing this little channel with little to no production value, just talking about a niche thing like goalie gear, like again, it's become more than anything I ever expected it to be. So just kind of want to take a little time out to thank you guys. I sincerely appreciate it, and I really do just love goalie gear and talking gear with you guys. So this is just like a little side hobby associated with my main hobby of playing goalie that I like to do. But yeah, so let's get into the knee pads now. So like I said, I had been using a previous version of Warrior knee pads. The design-wise, structurally, it's very similar to this. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Warrior really hasn't changed their design of knee pads over the years, and they have been one of the more popular knee pads, so I guess it's kind of like if it's not broken, don't fix it type of thing. But yeah, so this is pretty much just design-wise the same thing they've been putting out for a while. This is the newest iteration, but in general, as far as having the this sleeve at the bottom that kind of goes over your knee and shin, then you got this middle part, and this is probably the part that gets hit the most. It's really the part that's, when you're down, this part is tucked away because it's facing down on the pad. This is really the part that peeks out lower than your pants and is exposed the most to getting hit, and it's really doing most of the protection. And then you got this upper part too. So it's been that design for a long time. And then you have, let me turn it around, just undo some of the strapping here so you can see the back side. So one of the biggest probably features or design things of this that was like a big selling point when it came out, and it was a little different than anything else when it came out. To be honest, it's still kind of different. Like no one else really has this shin, lower knee, whatever you want to call it, section. They really put a lot of pad. Like this padding is thick. Just showing you on the camera, it's not really doing it justice, but it's really thick and soft padding. And that was one of the things originally many years ago that drew me to this Warrior design, is I really liked this padding there. Now, I'm somebody going back to the 90s when I used to play roller hockey. We didn't really have knee pads like this. Like we had stuff that, it was more like thigh guards that attached to the pads themselves. We had things that kind of cover the area, but it wasn't really knee pads. And at that time I got used to using like just a really thin, small volleyball knee pad that I would use as just kind of like a base protection for my knee. And it helped with when you're landing on the pad and whatnot to just soften that blow. So I really like this part of the Warrior design because I feel like it gives me even more cushion in the knee to help. Like I've never had I've never felt, regardless of how stiff or soft a knee landing on a pad has been that I've had, it really hasn't affected how my knees feel. And I think the big reason that because of that is because, yes, I still wear that extra volleyball knee pad too underneath any other knee protection, but then, like I said, for a really long time at this point, I've also been using this Warrior Design type knee pad, and it just makes landing on the pad ridiculously soft and easy on the knees. So I just really like that part of the knee pad, because other knee pads I had tried before I had started using Warrior years ago, it was like a hard plastic a lot of times there, and just was not comfortable to land on. So this, just comfort wise, knocked it out of the park for me when I first tried Warrior. So that was probably the one biggest selling point for me for Warrior knee pads. And just all these years later, they still have that design. Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It still works very good. Moving on to these other parts of the protection that I said it's really, this is what's doing the protecting part. Warrior's knee pads are, I would say, the bulkiest. They're not the absolute most protective ones. It's like a hard plastic feeling thing, but it's not super dense, thick. The upper piece has a little bit of padding up here, but even then it's not that thick, and you can see it can kind of be bent and whatever. So from a just strictly protection standpoint, yeah, it's not like insane. There's definitely other knee pads that provide more protection or a little bulkier if that's what your main concern is. But I've never personally had an issue with protection with the Warrior knee pads. So like, it's good enough. Let's put it that way, at least from my experience using Warrior. Another thing with me is when you're using knee pads, there's various ways to attach or to keep them up on your leg. Some people will just put the knee pad on and they'll put a bunch of tape on it. Some will use a garter belt system. That's probably actually the most popular way. I mean, just guessing off the top of my head, I feel like that's the way most people I've heard do it. And then the way that I do it, and I haven't found it to be super common, but I like to attach it to my pants. Probably one of the reasons it's not super common is not a lot of pants have a tab down where you can really attach it to. Off the top of my head, like I know Vaughn pants, which that's one of the reasons I stick with Vaughn, is I like that they have that tab. Other than that, I believe a few years back when I tried some Bauer pants on, I believe I remember they had somewhat of a way to attach them to the pant. It wasn't the exact tab like Vaughn has, but I believe, if I remember correctly, Bauer did have a way you could attach it to the pant. But other than those two, I really haven't seen pants that have a way to really attach it directly to the pant like that. But that's just the way I like to do it. I just feel like that, again, harking back to the 90s, there actually were some pants that came out, I think it was Heaton pants back in the 90s that came out that actually just came with kind of built in like a knee pad too. So I would just kind of like that design. I thought it just kind of flowed good because, yeah, it's the pants going into the knee, like whatever. To me, it's like the most logical way to attach it. So I like that these attach very easily and they work pretty seamlessly with my Vaughn pants that I've also been using Vaughn pants for many, many years. So that was another thing I liked about it. And really, like, I can't say over the years of using Warrior knee pads there has been any like drawbacks, and same thing with I've been using this one. Really nothing bad I can say about it. You know, this is not bad, but it's just they really haven't updated design. It's been the same design for many years at this point. If you want to maybe consider that somewhat of a negative, to me, it's not really, because it's been a very effective and comfortable knee pad for me to use. So, like, I don't know, who is this for? It's for somebody who wants comfort, you know, still enough protection to do its job, but, you know, that's not like maybe their top priority, like, oh, I just want the max protection I need, maybe, you know, but decent protection, you know, great like mobility and comfort, and especially if you're looking for like some extra padding where your knee would land, this is a great knee pad for someone who's looking for those type of things. So let's talk about the Bauer Pro. So like, if I hadn't seen this and Bauer hadn't come out with this one, I probably just would have automatically just bought this one to replace my older Warrior knee pad and not even tried anything else, not really thought too much about it, just figure, okay, it's just the logical step. I had seen this like online, Bauer or whatever, social media accounts. I'd seen it already. Then, not too long ago, I took a trip to Calgary, went to a hockey shop there that had a lot of gear. I don't have that kind of thing down here in South Florida. I got to see this in person there and it really intrigued me. I liked the design of it. I thought it was very interesting. I wanted to give it a try. One of the main things, and it's really unique, and again, this goes to, I've talked about Bauer gear in general, how they are one of the few companies that I just feel are really pushing the envelope and don't just kind of follow other brands or whatever. Like, they really come out with like unique, innovative stuff. So, whereas the, if you want to call it anchor point of the knee pad or the, bottom knee shin area, instead of having like how it is with this Warrior knee pad and a lot of other ones where you put it over your leg and then you strap the straps around it, this actually has a sleeve. Let me just put this Warrior down for a second. This actually has a sleeve as like the base part of it, all right? So you have to, there's no way to just put this over your leg and then strap everything on. You have to slide your leg through it because it is a sleeve. And the thing is, I actually had an idea for a knee pad like this many years ago because, like I said, I had been using volleyball knee pads just as a base under everything knee protection thing since the 90s. And I remember thinking a long time ago, I was like, I wonder why they don't kind of like basically use sort of like that volleyball knee sleeve as a starting point and then like add on the other major like hard plastic, whatever, over top of it. Well, took many years, but someone finally did it. Bauer did it. So this provides a really good like anchor point for the pad to stay on your leg. Now look, I still don't think there's any knee pad in existence that you can just put the knee pad by itself on your knee, leg, and it's going to stay perfect without anything else helping to hold it up. That's just the nature of the position and some of the crazy movements and stuff we do. Like, it's going to move around. So no matter what knee pad you get, I would still recommend you do something to help keep it on your leg. That being said, if you want to just say what is the best knee pad that's going to stay on your leg by itself as a starting point, I would say it's this one with this knee sleeve. It really keeps it on your leg good in the position you want it for the most part. I still, when I used it, I tried to, or not tried, I did attach it to my pants as how I like to use it. I'll get into how that went a little later. So I didn't just have this on my leg, but just to say that this probably does the best job of any knee pad of keeping the knee pad in place, even just by itself before doing anything else to attach it or tape it or anything else. The only drawback I could think of, it didn't happen to me, but I just thinking of possible drawbacks to this design is obviously this neoprene sleeve is a certain size. If you just have thick ass tree trunk legs, maybe it's too tight for you. You know, like that's kind of the thing, like with the Warrior knee pad and most other knee pads that you just strap it on. It's has a much wider range of what your leg size can be to fit it. This, I mean, I still say for, I don't know, 80%, maybe even more percent of people are going to be able to fit in this, no problem. But maybe, there's always outliers that it's just too tight for them or whatever. So, now once you put your leg in it, it has this strap at the bottom that you can tighten it, Velcro it, so that holds it in place at the bottom there. And then once you have that main sleeve there on, then you have this is the main protection area, and then the upper thigh but this really gets covered by the pant for the most part. And those ones have more traditional, just regular strap going across. It does have this, I don't even know what you want to call this, kind of sticky, tacky material to help kind of, I guess, keep it where it is on your leg. So the middle and top section are more kind of classic knee pad, and then it's got this sleeve, which, you know, another possible upside to this sleeve, you know, there's some people, like, I wouldn't, it's definitely not like a medical grade knee sleeve or brace type of thing. So if you're like still pretty much injured and you're looking for like a medical grade brace, well, for one thing, please don't play injured, let it heal. Little PSA. But you know, some people who maybe like really just got over an injury or whatever, and they need like a medical grade brace. I'm not saying it's gonna like take that place necessarily, but maybe you had an old injury, your knee's just a little unstable from old age, whatever the hell. You want something that's kind of like a knee sleeve that gives you like support for the knee. That's just like an added bonus that this will do for you as well because of this sleeve design. Not to mention, it does have a good amount of padding, soft padding throughout the right where the knee, front of the knee is. It does integrate a little bit of a harder padding too, but for the most part, this is all kind of soft, I don't know, almost gel-like foams that go throughout this. Later in the video, I'm gonna put these on and just show you how it fits on the knee and how it looks on the knee and everything, but just to show you now, you know, it does have all these little like padded areas on the sleeve part. And then it has, like I said, this main like harder plastic or curved composite actually that Bauer uses section. So as a whole, this knee pad is a little more robust. I would say it's a little more protective than the Warrior. So who is this for? It's for somebody that is really looking for a knee pad that's providing max protection. They don't mind maybe, you know, that it's a little bulky. And maybe, like I said, if you like something that gives you a little more support on the knee, or you've maybe struggled with knee pads staying in place before and you want something that'll stay in place better, this is going to do a great job of that. I mentioned I wanted to get back to about me attaching this to the pant. I just didn't have an easy time being able to do that with these knee pads. I think just because of maybe the bulkiness or whatever. I mean, I technically was able to tie them into the tabs using the cord that I have been using for years. But it just was never quite comfortable. It just felt like it was really pulling at it. And then there was one session where it actually pulled the cord out of the tab. And that's when I realized, like, yeah, it's just not gonna work. I think with these, you really need like a garter belt. It's probably the best way to wear these with. Best thing to wear these with to help support them staying in place. Or like I said, some people just use tape or whatever. But I think like the garter belt is probably the way to go. So for me, that was kind of a negative because I really like being able to attach these how I've been doing for many years to the pant. Like I said before though, I feel like I'm in the minority. I don't think too many people attach their knee pads directly to the pant. So that might not be an issue for the majority of you guys, but it's just something for me that it was kind of a negative experience using these. But other than that, like even for the bulkiness, I think because of this knee sleeve design, it actually still felt pretty comfortable on my knee. It didn't like inhibit my knee movement at all, any knee bending, anything like that. So it was still pretty comfortable, even for being as robust a knee pad as it is. And yeah, like, you know, the protection was great. I really like it. I think it's a good design. I like the innovation of using this knee sleeve as something different than just the same generic old strapping system that's most companies have been using for many years. So overall, I think this is a really good knee pad. I think both of these are really good knee pads. Let me get the Warrior real quick. All right. So ultimately, which one did I choose? Ultimately, I chose to stick with the Warrior. But that being said, for me, the reasons were, I feel, kind of specific to me and my likes and needs. yes, maybe some of you might have the same likes and needs as me, but I think for the majority of people, you're probably actually gonna like the Bauer Pro better. And like, I've done this with like pad sets I've reviewed before where like, yes, I like my very custom Vaughn set or even my Brian's custom pads. But I also say like, I don't necessarily think that that custom setup is the best for everybody. Like in the past when I've reviewed like the Hyperlight 2 set, I claimed while it's not the absolute best for me and I did like it, I felt like it was probably one of the sets that I think has the most general appeal. Like the most people would like it. And like, if you're just blindly gonna suggest like a set for somebody, Hyperlight 2 is a good place to start because it just has a lot of good things going for it. So that's kind of similar to these Bauer, what I'm gonna say about these Bauer knee pads. Like I just think it has a lot of good things in general, a lot of positives, and I think most people would find that this covers all their bases, everything they need, and would probably choose these over the Warriors. But you might think it's a small thing. I just really like being able to attach these to my pants, and these just work better. Also, like I said, part of it is just that it's not quite as it's a little more streamlined, and I think that just fits in with the pant leg opening and where the tab is to attach it. It just works better with this. There's just less interference. So like I said, it's maybe a small thing to you, but I don't want to have to use something like garter belt, whatever else I'm not used to. I've been for so many years having my knee pad attached to my pants, so that was a really big part of the decision for me. And also, while this does have padding, you know, at the bottom of the knee and kind of high shin area, it's not as padded as this. And I did find that it did feel a little different using my leg pads, wearing this and landing on it. And I just found myself kind of missing all this really thick padding that I had gotten used to. So for those two reasons really is why I chose this. But I was still overall very impressed with this Bauer Pro knee pad. So at the end of the day, both good options. For me personally, the Warrior just works better for my needs and likes, but I would highly recommend giving these a try. Also, definitely look into it if you're looking to buy new knee pads. I really was impressed with these. So, all right, I'm gonna put these on and I'll just kind of show you how it looks and feels on the leg. All right, so this is how it looks like on the knee. I know you like my colorful shorts, but yeah, so Bauer Warrior. You can kind of see how the Bauer is a little like wider. Mainly when I'm saying like bulkier, it's kind of like, I'm mainly talking about like how like wide this hard curve composite part is, where this one kind of wraps closer to your leg or knee area. So that's why this is a little more streamlined, but like, you know, like I said, this is very easy to bend my knee, as is this. Both, you know, nothing, I don't feel like it's inhibiting me in any way, either one. Both feel very comfortable and good, but just like I said, this is a little more streamlined, little, you know, it integrates, you know, it's not like if I wear my pants, you're going to really be able to see how it integrates because it's going to be covering it. That's why I'm not wearing the, you know, just showing you like this, but like this just integrates a lot better for me into the pant leg and how I attach it to the tab. But yeah, I mean, protection wise, they're both very good. This ultimately is going to win out with that, in that respect, whereas this ultimately wins out a little bit, I guess, comfort wise, whatever. But it's like splitting hairs. It's very close. Like I said, I think they're both really good knee pads. Show you like a side view, and you can see how, you know, the Warrior is much more traditional with just the strapping holding it in place, my milky white legs, and this has the sleeve. You know, I don't know how really if there's anything left any other way to like show you these knee pads, but yeah, that's how they look on the knee. You know, whatever. I'm trying to like simulate how I would use them, but you know, it's hard to do that without the equipment on, but with the equipment on, you wouldn't really see them. So, but yeah, so, hey, so that's my knee pad video. As usual, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave them. I always respond, always get back to you guys. If there's anything I didn't cover that you have a question on, you know, be happy to answer after the fact. But I think I pretty much said my 2 cents on these things, and that's the video. So see you in the next one.